Okay, so today we will talk about enumerations or enum type. So enumeration is what? Enumeration indicates that name to numbers. For example, we have weekdays, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So if someone asks you what is today's day, so you can say it's a Monday or Tuesday, whatever the day it is. But if someone asks you what is the number, means which day, tell me the number. So that will be, it takes some time to, okay, Sunday, if Sunday is 1, Monday is 2, so on. So in that case, to remember the name is quite easy as compared to the number. So that is the main idea behind the enumerations. We can define the enumerations with the number two symbols. So for that we use enum. Okay, so this is the word that we use to define an enumeration. So for example, I want to say weekdays. And I'll say Sunday equals to 1. Or if you want to put or not, it's up to you. Sunday, Monday, right, Tuesday, and so on. Okay, so these 3 week of the day I am using, right? And okay, so these 3 weekdays I am using Sunday, Monday and Tuesday. And if I say Sunday equals to 1, means Sunday is my first day, Monday is my second day. Yeah, it is giving error because I need to use small e. Okay, so I'm saying Sunday, Monday, Tuesday and so on. And if you want to give some number, by default what will happen, this is at 1 position and it has number 2 and it has number 3. So these are the numbers which is by default given to the uh, given to the elements in the sequence order. Okay. Now I go back to my method, and if I say, let me create one method here where static static we can call it void um, week value or weekday value. Okay, and here let me pass this uh, my weekdays w. Okay, and here I'll say switch w case w dot not w dot, here we need to write weekday start Sunday, and you're saying console.write. Today is a holiday. Enjoy. Let's have a break here. Case weekdays dot Monday. It is a killing Monday. Go to office after a big break. And I'll say case weekdays dot Tuesday, and I'll say console.write. It is a little less pressure because my boss is on leave. Default console.write line all other days are party day. So here actually what it is saying, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday we already added, and say Saturday. Okay, we need to put a break here, so this is done. Okay, now let us see how to use it. So to use this, we will use the main method. So in this method, let's write here one with Enum. So what I will do here, I will take one weekdays W or W1 or small weekday, because C# is a case sensitive language, so small weekdays or capital weekdays is having different meaning. Okay, and I'm saying weekdays dot Monday. Now I will call week value method, and where I'm passing weekdays. Same way, I will say some line I will write that what next. So I'll say weekdays dot weekdays equals to weekdays dot Tuesday. Console dot write line. What about other days? And we'll say week value weekday value, and I will pass. So other days we will represent weekdays equals to weekdays dot Saturday. And now I will press weekdays, and let us run it. So what it is printing? It is printing first Monday. It is, so it will come over here, week value weekdays dot Monday. So it is saying it is a killing Monday. Go to office after a big break. What next is this line is coming up, and then what it is saying dot Tuesday. So Tuesday is what? Tuesday is saying that it is a little less pressure. So what about other day? Why it is not printing for Tuesday? Because I did not call that method. So I forgot to call that method here. So yes, now you can see it is less pressure today because my boss is on leave. Then I pass Saturday, and I'm saying all other days are party days. So what I'm trying to do here, I'm saying that if here the weekdays is one type, and weekdays is representing Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, okay, and this Sunday, Monday, Tuesday is I'm just putting it into one enumerations, and this enumerations helps me to instead of going to numbers 0, 1, 2, 3, I will go with the names. So I can write uh, weekdays dot, and these weekdays dot Sunday, Monday, or Tuesday, or whatever. Now when I say Sunday, it has value internally. Internally it is resolved with the number. So the number is 1 for first, second for Monday, third for Tuesday, and 4 for Saturday. This enumeration type is that it has a uh, this functionality is basically available in the system dot enum type. So that is the class actually where this functionality exists. And if we want to if we want to see the functionality of that type, actually there are different ways also we can inherit the uh, type. We can not inherit, I would say. It's basically defining the type. For example, if I put a colon here and if I say byte, so in this case all the values within this enumeration should be of byte type. If I so means by byte is a data type, right, where I can store the values which comes under the byte range. So it's a 8-bit representation unassigned integer, right? So that also we can do. But if you don't put anything, by default it is a numeric values. Okay, after enumerations we have next is the structures. We call it structures, or simply we call structs. So now .NET structures, or we call struct types, are well suited for the mathematical or geometrical or other atomic entities in the applications. So a structure is just like an enumeration. It's a user-defined data type. So if we say enumeration is also user-defined data type, where we are defining our custom types or custom values like Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, etc. So structure is also a user-defined data type. Now, the structure are not simply the collection of named or values pair. So, so in structures, what we can do? Let me show you what is the structure. So you create a structure with the struct keyword. Okay, and if I say it has a name, so I'm creating structure. Its name is point. It is very much similar to the class, but it is have some differences that also we will discuss. So here I can create the variables or the data members. So this is having say int x and public int y. These two members. And if I want to create a method inside it, just like as we were doing in the class, same way we can do it. So I can create public void increment. Okay, and here I can pass increment x plus plus, increment the value by 1, and y plus plus. And let me have one more method which is for the decrement. So I'll say public void decrement. Okay, so here I can pass x minus minus and y minus minus. Okay, and there is one method which basically displays these values. So I'll say public void display, and here I will say console dot write line x equals to 0 comma y equals to 1, and I will print x comma y. Okay, so these are the two things which same way we were doing in the classes also. So we have defined two integers fields here. One is x and other is the y, which is public, right? And which is means if it is a public, it means it is accessible through the object with the dot operator. Now, how to use it? So what I will do, I will create an object of the point. So I'll say point, just say my point, and I'll say my point dot x equals to say 300, and my point dot y equals to say 75. Okay, and I'll say my point dot display, then my point dot increment, my point dot display, my point dot okay, same with the decrement we can call. Just I will run it now. So you can see increment increases the value, right? So this happens because point equals to my point, and my point dot x is this variable which is public variable, y. So my point dot x equals to 300, my point dot y equals to 75. Then I displayed it. It displays x equals to 300, y equals to 75. Then I call the increment method, which basically increases this value, and it increased the value by 1. And I displayed my point dot display, which is displaying now the x is equal to 301 and y equals to 76. So this is same as we did for the class, but the difference is that structure is a value type, whereas class is reference type. And there are features, object-oriented features we can use in the classes, all the features, but in the structure that is not possible. So we will talk about that difference between class and structure, and what are the different what is the difference between value type and reference type. So if you notice that here also I did not use point equals to my point equals to new point. So that is not required because new variable is used for the to allocate the memory, to initialize the object, and it is used for the reference type. Okay, so let's understand value types and the reference type. C, the array, strings, or enumerations, right? C sharp structures, they don't have the identical names in the .NET library. Means like as I discussed in the enumerations that it has system.enumeration class. But there is no such class system.structure. So there are two types. One is value type and one is the reference type. So structures are value type. So structures are value type. So these structures, if I just say string, okay, this is a class, and if you see it has a class system.string. Okay, so this string is basically representing a type, okay, which is system.string. String is a class. Okay, so same way when we talk about the structures, structures are not a class. There is no .NET library defined as system.structure or structures. But implicitly, these are derived from the system.value type. So what the system.value type is doing, so system.value type is to ensure that the derived type like structure is allocated in onto the stack rather than the garbage collector heap. So what it means? It means that the value types, they are stored on stacks in memory, and the reference types, they are stored into the heap, which is garbage collector. Garbage collection, we will have a separate tutorial for that. So the the data uh, which is allocated on the stacks, that can be created and destroyed very quickly, and its lifetime is we can determine by defining the scope, whereas heap allocated data is monitored by a component of CLR, which is the garbage collector, and it has a lifetime which is basically determined by the large number of factors. So that all we will discuss that. So value type, that life is the lifetime is very quick. It's created and destroyed. But if we talk about the reference type, where the data is stored in the heap, so it has a generation 1, 2, 3. So there it garbage collector checks whether that object is destroyed or still used. So that we will discuss in the garbage collections, right? The the only purpose of this system.value type like structures is to override the virtual methods defined in the system objects, and to use the what is the use of virtual method, that also we will discuss, and the use of system.object. So system.object in the hierarchy of the data types, it is on the top. So by which we have two data types, one is reference type and one is the value type. Now this system.object uh, is to the the one which is the parent of, I will say, reference type and parent of the value type, and it has two child. One is reference type data types, other is value type data type. Under value type data types, we have structure, integers. These types defined. Under reference types, we have classes, uh, and arrays, etc. Okay. Now there are different uh, uses of value types and reference type. That virtual which I just talked about, that also we will talk in our separate tutorial, right, where I will show you that how the virtual is used and how to use with the structures and all this. So value types and reference type. So when you assign one value to another, a member by member copy happens of the field data in the case of reference type. So say an example, um, we have a data type integer. So integer is a value type. So for example, let me remove this. If I have integer I equals to 10 and I have integer j and I say equals to I. So in this case, reference or structure type or value type, values are copied to j. Means if I print at this time value of I and j, it should be same, right? I equals to 0 and j equals to 1. So if I print I comma j and if I run it, so that gives me the same value. And this equal to we call the assignment operator. So let us discuss this assignment operator with respect to the value type and reference type. Okay, so now let us discuss in case of structure. So now here I will take the structure point P1, okay, and I'll say P1 dot uh, P1 dot X equals to 10, okay, and P1 dot Y equals to 20. And if I say one more object, point P2, okay, and if I say P2 dot P2 equals to, if I say point P2 and P2 equals to P1. So equal to is a assignment operator where I am assigning a value to the another object. So now let me do one thing. Let me call P1 dot display, which will print X and Y value, and P2 dot display. So both are having the same value, X equals to 10 and Y equals to 20. Now let us do some changes here. P1 dot X equals to 20. Now let us repeat again. And let's run it. Now you have seen P2 dot x is still at 10, whereas P1 dot x is moved to 20. Okay. So what I did, I have created two variables, P1 and P2 of type point, and where when I say P2 equals to P1, it totally copies every value to the P2 object, from P1 to P2 object. Now when assign, so because it's a value type, so now I have two copies of this, P1 and P2, and both are exactly same. And and the integer x and integer y, these are also value type. So when I assign the value, then there is no effect. It just copy paste. So when I change the value, now next, this is the twist point. When I change the value, then what will happen in this case, because it's a value type, when you apply the assignment operator, right? When you assign the assignment operator, so this is the assignment operator, equals to. So now P1 and P2 in the memory, these are two entities. First what I did, I say copy P1 to P2. And second case, now again P1 and P2 has no linkage. If I do any changes in P1, will not reflect into the P2. If I do any changes in the P2, it will not reflect back to the P1, because their lifetime is very less. As soon as I provided the value, that's it. It is over. So that is the main difference between the structures and classes. So let me create one class here very quickly. So let me have a class here. Say, so what I'm doing, class versus structure. Class is nothing but the reference type, and structures are nothing but the value type. Okay, so let me have a class here. Say class, say CLS point. Okay, which has, let me have only one variable here, and I will say public int x. Okay, now same thing I'm doing that I'm creating CLS point object, say p. So let me comment this, because that we have already seen. So I'm creating point p1 equals to, because it's a class reference type, we need to must use to the new to allocate the memory. Now I'm saying p1 dot x equals to 20. Okay, and I will create one more object, CLS point p2, and I'm saying equals to p1. So I'm giving that value to the p1 value to the p2. So now if I have a display method here, so public void display, and what I'm doing here, I'm just printing value of x equals to I'll put 0 equals to x. So if I now call p1 dot display and p2 dot display, should return the same, x equals to 20. Now what I am doing, p1 dot x equals to 30. Now again I am calling p1 dot display and p2 dot display. and let me run it. Now you see x equals to 20 for the P1 and I assigned P2 equals to P1. Now P1 dot display, it means both are 20. That makes sense because I assigned P2 equals to P1. Now again in this case, second case, when I say P1 dot x equals to 30, but I did not say P2 dot x equals to 30, but it is printing P2 dot x equals to 30 as well. So that is the main difference between the structure and the value type. So value type, you copied it and its life is over. Both P1 and P2 are the separate entity. But in the reference type, they are pointing to the same variable or same memory location. So P1 and P2, these are two variables, but both are pointing to the same reference. So same reference in the memory. So if you are putting P1 dot x equals to 30, so automatically the reference type variables like P2 dot x, which is pointing to the same memory location, so they are using the same value. So it means P2 dot x equals to 30. So the main difference between structure type or the value type and the reference type is that the lifetime is short, it is quickly destroyed, whereas the reference type is having a cycle, generation cycles by which it destroyed. Second, we have seen in this case in the assignment operator, the value type is destroyed immediately, right? It copies where we have assigned P1 equals to P2 or P2 equals to P1. In that case, what happens in the structure case, it assign the value and that after that copy, these P1 and P2 are the separate, they are on the stacks. Okay, but in the reference type, they are stored in the heap. So the main purpose of the heap is that it has a life cycle, object life cycle. So where if you are saying one object equals to another object, means P1 equals to P2 or P2 equals to P1, now both are pointing to the same memory location until unless you or the garbage collector destroy it, they will point to the same memory location. So if I do any changes into the P1, will be reflected to the P2 because both are pointing to the same memory location. So I hope now you understand the difference between value type and the reference type.